many, many devotees, even as far away as Canada. Bhakti Mark Swami was here. He came to Paniyati Festival one year, and he said, I was here. I went, really? From Canada? Yeah, we had devotees from everywhere. As Sikhamhiti was saying, there was major competition between Atlanta and Chicago and LA. New York was not even really on the map. It was Chicago, Atlanta, LA. We were just fighting it out. But what was that fight? To please Prabhupada. So that Prabhupada would see in the newsletter, such and such devotee did this and that. So you heard Charu Deshna speak. It's a bittersweet moment. He's not here. I mean, I depended on Chardeshna so much. I could look and say, Chardeshna's here, right? Chardeshna's here. But now he's not physically here, but we heard him today. So when Chardeshna, as he said, he was so dedicated to book distribution, you cannot even imagine. On Friday, he would get up, Mangalarti in Atlanta is 4:30 in the morning. He would get up before Mangalarti, go to the Atlanta airport, and distribute books all the way to the end of the day. So one time he did over 200 big books. Now this is before Krishna Life and Mahotsaha did 5,000 books in one day. No one had ever done 200 books, no one. So Chardeshna did that. So all the scores were sent to Prabhupada. Prabhupada loved to see the book scores. He said, it gives me life to see the book scores. So keep that in your mind. When you distribute books, it gives life to Prabhupada. So he saw that Chardeshna had done 200 and some odd big books. And it is simply wonderful that Chardeshna has done 200 plus big books. Chardeshna Prabhu ki jai. A lot of points you can consider from that. As Tatiksha, my dear god sister, said, Prabhupada said, it's very nice you address the deities. And she took that as a life blessing. So you can imagine what motivated Chardeshna to keep going until 2 weeks before he's left this world, practically. Still trying to go on Sankirtan. Still trying to go. So what motivated him was, like he said, the instruction from Prabhupada to tell his best to do. But this blessing from Prabhupada, that is wonderful that you've distributed 200 big books. That drove him to the end of his life. So now Prabhupada is not physically here, okay? But he said, he even said it here in Atlanta, there are two things about the Guru. Vani, which means what? What does Vani mean? See, if you don't know what it means, then you won't understand. Vani means instructions. Vapu, the physical form. He said, of the two, the Vani, the instructions, are more important than the physical form. So you can feel a little sad that you were not here with me in Parampara. We were here in the temple dancing. Prabhupada was there. But you have something even more. You have his instructions in the form of his books. Not only books, videos, audios. I mean, I have a little service I do every day. I send out a Prabhupada lecture every day to the devotees in 3 different WhatsApp groups and Facebook. Because I feel like devotees are wasting a valuable resource called social media. I see you many times on social media, Radha Rose and Prabhu. I love your kirtans, very nice. Social media is meant for what? Gibberish, however you want to say it. Nonsense. That's what most people use it for. You know, family photos, whatever. But it's an amazing resource to glorify Krishna and his pure devotee, Srila Prabhupada, the things that they've done. And I want to share something which it may sound controversial, but in my mind is not. So please bear with me. We recently lost President Jimmy Carter, who was a very kindly man, very nice man. So down the street, maybe 2 miles, is the Jimmy Carter Center, Presidential Library. So I think we're over here, so close to where he is, well, that building is, and it's so beautiful, so nice. Has anyone been to the Carter? It's a beautiful place, beautiful garden, so nicely done. So here's my controversial point. Please don't be mad at me. Let me give a backstory. One time at the Sunday lecture, I said that, what do we want to do? Just like in the case of Lord Jesus Christ, to this day, The archaeologists, researchers are still trying to prove whether or not he lived. They have something called the Shroud of Turin. They try to say that's maybe his form. But they haven't found anything really concrete that this man was real. So I told the devotees, what do you want to do? Wait for 2,000 years and go digging in the dirt to prove Prabhupada was real? So one member said, no, but Prabhupada would not want that. He didn't want that. I said, but he may not have wanted. We have a responsibility to preserve Prabhupada's memory. Now think about it. As the video just showed, Prabhupada walked, but not on this particular floor. Under this floor, there's another floor, marble. And under that floor is a wooden floor. When we moved in, the floor was a wooden floor, little slats. At that time, Parampara was Bhakta Peter. He had just come from Emory University. So I was kind of in charge of him a little bit, okay? So the night before Prabhupada arrived, we were in anxiety because the wood floor, because we danced so much in Atlanta, the floor was coming up like that. And little nails were popping up. So Parampara and myself, that night before Prabhupada arrived, we crawled around the entire floor and countersunk the nails. And we were meditating on the gopis. They didn't want Krishna to go in the forest and hurt his feet. So we were meditating on Prabhupada. For us, Prabhupada was more a meditation than a directly serving him, because I never, while he was here, got a chance to do anything, pretty much. Oh, one thing I did do. I was selling candles for the temple. We had a Spiritual Sky company, the #1 incense company in the country in that time. So I was one of the salesmen. So I was in South Carolina somewhere. I sold a lot. I called my temple president, Balavanta, who you saw in the video. I said, Balavanta, I want to buy something. It was a teak wood table with a brass tray. So he said, how much have you sold? I said, 5,000. He said, okay, buy it, bring it. Little did I know that teak wood table, brass tray, is the one that Prabhupada offered to Bhaktisiddhanta for his Vyasa Puja. Krishna knew, so he inspired me to bring it to serve Prabhupada. So being in the presence of Prabhupada, my dear friend, we call him Balabhadra #2. Where is Balabhadra #2? There he is. His name is also Balabhadra, but I keep telling him, I'm the only Balabhadra Bhattacharya. You don't get that. He's Balabhadra. I believe you were here, weren't you? Him, his brother, he has 2 brothers that were also disciples of Prabhupada. So Balabhadra #2 told me something the other night that really touched me very deeply. He said the electricity, the energy of Prabhupada when he was in this room is still here. Think about that for a second. The energy that drove all of us to madness is still here. But it's only here for those who actually appreciate it. Just like in one Vaishnava song, it says, days like Janmashtami, Radhastami, Gaur Purnima are the mother of the devotees who respect those days. They will cause devotion, but you have to respect those days. Okay? On Janmashtami, there's certain things we do. Gaur Purnima is coming up, there's certain things we do. Tomorrow is coming up. What is tomorrow? Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada's Vyasa Puja. And the 50th celebration of Prabhupada doing that Vyasa Puja. So back to my controversial point. I didn't forget. So I thought, in my mind, and I'm giving you my impression, it's not something I can quote from Scripture. I can't even quote Prabhupada, but this is my realization, okay? Because I heard some devotees recently analyze whether or not it's more important the Shastras, the literatures, Vedic literatures, ancient Acharyas literatures, or Prabhupada's words. I'm not going to ask you to answer that. I'm telling you what my personal conviction is. Prabhupada's words are more important to me than all the Vedas, all the Acharyas. I don't even compare them. So when I thought about this Carter Center, I said, Prabhupada's presence in Atlanta was even more significant than that. Challenge me if you will. I'm not going to say I don't care, but I don't care. That's my motivation. That's my heart. That what they created there should be recreated here, even in a grander scale. How many people went to Kumbh Mela in his room? Kumbh Mela is such a big, 500 million people over the course of, what, a month or so? It's unbelievable. But again, Prabhupada's coming to Atlanta is more significant than that to me. I don't know about anyone else, but to me. I could go people have offered me plane tickets to go to Kumbh Mela. And I said, no, I have my Kumbh Mela right here. Because when you go to the holy place, the most significant thing that people sometimes forget, you go there to get the association of the sadhus. So the sadhu came here. And for those who follow ISKCON or Krishna consciousness, is there a greater sadhu for us than Prabhupada? I don't think so. Great respect for all the sadhus and great respect for all the acharyas. Great. But Prabhupada is the life and soul for me and many, many others. So I want to share something with you. I'm just trying to give a little bit of a feeling how to think about this place. Balavanta described it. I was just coming here with Sumohan Prabhu. He drove me here from another place. So he came down the street, Springdale. I said, this is where Balavanta brought Prabhupada. He wanted Prabhupada to see the beautiful houses on Springdale. Take that road sometimes. Multi-million-dollar houses. He wanted Prabhupada to see our temple is in a very prestigious location. Has anyone ever been to the Detroit temple? Very prestigious building. Sikimihiti was actually there. That is the building that was owned by the Fisher Mansion, Fisher Body by Fisher. But when the devotees bought it, it was just like practically a ghetto. It was not really nice. There's a river or something across the river. It was not so much. But Prabhupada saw the future of that place. He encouraged Ambarish Prabhu, great-grandson of Henry Ford, and the daughter of Walter Reuther. Yeah, so they bought that place. And now you go there. Unbelievably fabulous, wonderful place. So here, what you don't know, some of you might know, let's set the stage. What was his impression of this place? Did he ever say what he really thought about this place? Take a guess. Yes. Where did he say it? Take a guess, Radha. What do you think, Radha? What do you think Prabhupada mentioned this temple? What would be an amazing place for Prabhupada to talk about this temple in India? You went to Vrindavan, right? Yeah, you went to Vrindavan. He talked about Atlanta in Vrindavan. And I thought, what? This is just Atlanta. Come on, this place is nothing. So this is what Prabhupada said. He said, this is a lecture, speech, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, 1953, Vrindavan, April 20th, 1975. This formula of the Vedic Shastra, and you will be surprised. I invite you to go to our different centers in Europe and America, how they are chanting, dancing before the deity. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda, or Radha Krishna. Recently, this is amazing. Recently, I have been to Atlanta. This is Prabhupada speaking in Vrindavan for the first time, because this is the second time. But it's the first time in the temple proper. He came the first time only to the airport, not this current airport, the old airport. And they greeted him there. They had a big, nice program for him there. But he never came to the location. First time at the location. Now listen to how he describes it. But the boys and the girls there, which included me, Parampara, Charadeshna, the whole huge list, Balavanta, they have taken 3 buildings. He actually says 3 big houses. You're sitting in one of them. Over there is another. Over there is another. So he says, the middle house has been transformed into a temple. And you're sitting in that temple right now. How nicely they are chanting and dancing. You will be surprised if you go. So he's telling the Brijbasis in India, you'll be surprised if you go to Atlanta. So his pastimes in Atlanta was so significant that the governing body commission of this whole movement, they designated certain places to be considered as shrines. This is from the ISKCON law book that is being somewhat revised, but this is the ISKCON law book. Shrines and memorials. Number 1, places of Srila Prabhupada's pastimes shall be maintained as permanent shrines. I'm not going to mince the words. Permanent shrines. And his paraphernalia shall be collected and preserved in memorials to him. We do have some of Prabhupada's paraphernalia available here. Number 2, the responsibility, now this is important, the responsibility for maintaining the worship of Srila Prabhupada shall be borne, be taken care of, carried by ISKCON as a whole. That means the whole movement is supposed to take care of these shrines. Atlanta's one. And distributed amongst the temples and initiated devotees of the society. Number 3, there shall be a committee named the Bhaktivedanta Swami Memorial Committee, whose members are appointed by the GBC. It will determine where and how Srila Prabhupada's rooms and paraphernalia shall be preserved. Now listen. Srila Prabhupada's rooms in the following places shall be maintained as permanent shrines in remembrance of his pastimes. Number 1, Vrindavan, Vrindavan Dham Ki. Mayapur Dham Ki. Bombay, Juhu Beach Ki. Los Angeles, Sri Sri Rukmini Dwarkadish Ki. Honolulu. Guess who's number 6? Guess who's number 6? Guess who was number 6? Say it loud. When I grew up, they had a song, say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. Say it loud, I'm Atlanta, New Panita Dam, and proud. Because if you're not proud, this place will never make it. Prabhupada said, ownership turns sand to gold. It's your job. Prabhupada, myself, many of us, I mean, every day I'm seeing one of my god brothers, god sisters passing away from this world. It's amazing. So, I don't know. Whatever time I have left, we'll do the best that we can. But the point is, it's going to be on you to carry that spirit of Nupanihati Dham. You have to carry this spirit, otherwise it won't make it. And what is that spirit? I keep saying, the most significant thing that I can imagine about this temple is Prabhupada's coming. Okay? His being here. Turn this place into a real Dham. So it's just like you spend money to go to India to go to different Dhams. Here's a Dham right here, approved by the international governing body of the movement. This is a shrine. So what should we do? What should be our mood? We should do everything we can to preserve this place as best that we possibly can. Prabhupada deserves even more than our dear Mr. Jimmy Carter. Don't you think? Am I just a fool? Am I crazy? Am I just dreaming? John Lennon said, right? What was that song you sang? Imagine. Just imagine. But if you don't imagine, it won't happen. Believe me, if you don't imagine something greater for Prabhupada, it'll be whatever. No problem. But it's not up to Sweta Sarup to imagine. It's not up to Sikhi Mahiti or Veda Sara or the board of directors to imagine. It's up to all of us to imagine how much better can we offer Prabhupada in this place? And then you'll see it manifest. So I'm just so thankful in my latter years. I never thought I'd get to be the age I am now. I'm 73, and I thought when I was a young man living in the hood, I thought I'd make it to 50. Probably I'd get shot. I don't know what was going to happen. 73, 52 years in the movement. And I've been trying my best to make sure that we don't forget Prabhupada's coming here. So please, I beg you, put it in your heart. Imagine something greater for Prabhupada. It's not that this is not wonderful. This is wonderful. But can it be better? You know what they say in business? There's only one question a businessman can ask. That is, how can I improve upon that which I do every day? So the meditation is, how can we improve what we're offering Shri Shri Gaurnitai, Radha Madan Mohan Jagannath, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. Yeah. So I request my dear God brother, Parampara Prabhu, who's actually, along with his wife, maintaining a wonderful farm up in Tennessee. He's been doing it for many, many years. But he was also the treasurer. Were you a treasurer? In Atlanta here? Treasurer.
From 1979 to 84.
Yeah, he was our treasurer. Kept us out of trouble. So let's hear from His Grace, Parampara Prabhu.
Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Buddhale Shri Mate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pacharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine Vanchakalpatarubhascha kripa sindhu bhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhattavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I had no idea what to say here today. There's so much to say, and it's impossible to pack it into a little thing. So I started thinking about Prabhupada's visit, and I thought, well, I'm going to try to list all the devotees that I remember that were at the temple.
Wow.
These are devotees that I can remember, and I know there are more. And believe it or not, I never saw this footage. I'm a little technical challenged, so I never saw the DVD. I never saw this incredible footage. So there's a few names that maybe show up. But do you mind if I just read these names?
Yeah, zero bias.
Okay. This is like in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Yeah, I didn't, but I'm going to put them on. And Bhakti Marg Maharaj. So it's like there'll be a list of people who were there when some amazing pastime happened, right? So this was just off the top of my head. Balavanta, Gokula Ranjana, Aja, Gadi, Sadaputa, Swarup Damodar, who became Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj, Madhava, Mahashakti, Munjikesh, Chardeshna, Balabhadra Bhattacharya, Vaikunta, Jivanuga, Swavas. Remember, Swavas was here distributing books. Bhakta Ran, Bahushra, Sahasrangi, was he here? Radha Mohan, just an amazing, anyway, brahmachari. Kardamamuni, Ramanath Sukha, who later on, he became the cook and the head pujari here, and he was so expert in making sandesh, he used like a champion juicer to process the paneer, and the devotees brought some sandesh that he had made here in Atlanta to India when they went to India for the Gaur Purnima festival, and it was given to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada tasted and said, "Who has made this? He should come and teach everyone how to make sandesh." That's Ramanath Sukha. Haricharna was the treasurer here at the time. Vaishnavananda, Javarja, Jita Kroda, brothers from North Carolina. Jayasena, Maheja, Kokika, who might have still been Bhakta John, or he might have been Hamsa Gati, Bhakta Brian. Bhakta Brian was a big burly guy who'd actually stayed at the Trappist monastery out in Conyers, and he's the one who built this little stairway that goes up the hill here with the railroad tie steps that still exist. Wow. 50 years later, Prabhupada stepped up those steps to go to the little path across, and then up the driveway, around behind the building, up the little rickety wrought iron stairway up to the quarters, where it's in the kind of like the attic apartment of that building over there. Bhakta Brian Ki Jai, Bhakta Patrick. Remember Bhakta Patrick? Bhakta Glenn. Vedaguya. Vedaguya was my friend, my personal friend. We had been students together over at Emory, and at this time he was still Bhakta Mike. He had gone to India and gotten into a little difficulty, and devotees saved him in Vrindavan because he was smoking a little. And he got a little off the rails there, but the devotees in India saved him. He came back to America, and as soon as he kind of stabilized, he came to the temple, and he became a devotee right on the spot. And guess who was here as the temple president? Balavanta, who had been his fraternity brother over at Emory. So that was Vedaguya Das. So Vedaguya Das, we were friends, and we were running a little vegetarian restaurant over across from Emory. And after he became part of the temple, he very persistently was coming over to the restaurant to try to persuade me and my wife to come, and was leaving books and this and that. So anyway, he recruited me to come to the temple in the 2 weeks before Prabhupada arrived to help fix things up. They had just moved in this place. The maybe November, December of 74. The deities had just been installed in the spring of 74. Am I correct? Back on the original main location down on 13th Street where the IBM building and all that stuff is now. And so the deities were installed officially for worship in the spring of 74. By the fall of 1974, they made this astounding move, because this is devotees at a certain point in years before that, they had no real fixed place to stay. They were staying in people's apartments. They were moving from this apartment back in the days when Jamajaya has told the story of it. And so all of a sudden, now here we are, establishing ourselves in this place, which is like one of the most prestigious neighborhoods in Atlanta. This back here, Druid Hills, is like designed by Frederick Law Olmsted. This entire district, it was designed by this famous American landscaper. Anyway, on and on and on. So, but we had just moved in, so it's a little shabby. And so Veda Guya kind of recruited me to come over and help kind of fix things up. Sand things to paint and scrub floors and things like that. Bhakta Allen. I list myself. Okay, so that's in the late. Oh yeah, I was thinking if we can find copies of the Vyas Puja books from 1974, 75, we probably have them. You can get even a more complete list. This is just off the top of my head. I don't know if Janmashtami was here, Bhakta Jim. I don't know if Rasam was here. Not here. Saptarath, there was a devotee of Saptarath who was doing, he had gone to Mayapur to learn how to do the diorama, the dolls, the clay dolls that they were using to make dioramas, and he was here. Then I said, okay, he's in the Radha Damodar Traveling Sankirtan Party here, and I remembered it was Mahamantra who became Madhava Maharaj. Yeah. All three buses, they were traveling the whole United States in Greyhound buses converted into traveling ashrams. Radha Damodar actually was installed for worship here in Atlanta, back down on 13th Street. So that was the first deities actually installed for worship here in Atlanta. Gaura-Nitai installed, then they were installed here. They've been here ever since. By the way, think of it, 50 years, we're thinking back 50 years, but let's go fast forward through the 50 years. The worship of these deities has been maintained 24/7, 365 days a year for 50 years. Going strong. Talk about something to be proud of. This is what we can be proud of. You know, a year later, or later that year, Lord Jagannath, who actually came to America with Gaura-Nitai, Jagannath Balaram Subhadra were installed later that year. Radha Madan Mohan in 86 under the leadership of His Holiness Jayapataka Maharaj and Balabhadra. And so anyways, I digress. So Radha Damodar was here. That meant Tamal Krishna Maharaj here. I think I saw Adi, what's his name? Adi Kesha. I think I saw him in the video. He was a bus leader, so he would have been here. Our dear beloved Pita Das, talk about someone who's now departed. Pita Das was one of the Radha Damodar Brahmacharis, and Maharaj, Rupanuga, Satsarup Maharaj, Devamrita Maharaj, Bhakti Marg Maharaj, Tripurari, Paramahamsa Swami here, Shuddhakirti himself was Prabhupada's servant, and then Mahabhuti, okay, the library party, Satsarup Maharaj's library party, they were traveling the country selling sets of Prabhupada's books to libraries, to university and college libraries and to public libraries. And on that party were Mahabhuti, Kalakanta, Dhira Krishna. And then, and there are several, if you go, I am a little bit functional as far as things. There is Prabhupada Vani, all the lecture tapes, Prabhupada's lecture tapes. So there's about 6 or 7 tapes of Prabhupada's arrival and his stay here in Atlanta. If you look at the context, in January, there's a whole set of tapes, like a whole month's worth, in Bombay. Prabhupada was finishing the business in Bombay of securing the property and establishing, and then they moving forward to the Bombay project. Okay, Prabhupada knew in about 4 months from January, April, he was going to open the Krishna Balaram Mandir. So Bombay, Juhu, Krishna Balaram Mandir was about to open. And then at the end of January, he took off on a whirlwind tour, Hong Kong, Honolulu, Los Angeles, Mexico City, Caracas, Miami, Atlanta, Dallas, New York, London, Calcutta, all within 2 months. And my impression was that he was absorbed in a Gornitai ecstasy, especially in Mexico, Caracas, and Miami, because the same type of deity. I don't know if they were they there then though? Were they there then?
The deities?
The deities,
Yeah.
Gornitai, were they there then in
they
75?
Yeah.
So he saw Gornitai deities that are just like the deities here, full-size, tall Gornitai deities in Miami. There are 4 places in the world that have deities like this: Atlanta, Miami, Morari Sevak, and
Mexico.
not Mexico, but Australia.
Mexico, too.
Mexico too? Full size? Okay, I didn't know that. So, ecstasy, Prabhupada arrives. The lecture could not have been more than a minute or two. Prabhupada weeps as he sees Gornitai, and he considers how merciful they are. But there is a tape of a conversation, couldn't be more than an hour or two later in the day, and he's talking with Swarup Damodar. Swarup Damodar, his brahmachari disciple, who was a microbiologist who was doing research over here at Emory, and Prabhupada is preaching like a lion. The difference could not be more stark. He is weeping on the Vyasa here, seeing Gornitai and considering the compassion, how the same Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda who appeared in Bengal 500 years ago have come to Atlanta. Krishna is kind, but he demands that you surrender. But Gornitai, they are so kind. Prabhupada chokes up. They do not even ask you to surrender. They just give you the mercy. They give you prema bhakti. And that's when Prabhupada choked up and he had to leave. An hour later, Prabhupada is preaching like a lion, challenging, and so at the Swarup Damodar had been, there's a whole series of tapes. Prabhupada's walks on the beach there in Venice Beach in Los Angeles, and Swarup Damodar, he had taken Swarup Damodar very close to him as a scientist because Prabhupada was very pragmatic, and he wanted to preach to the Americans in a scientific way that would appeal to them, because there's so much science, and science in the modern science is pervaded by this atheistic viewpoint. Everything can be explained in terms of force and materialism. So Prabhupada is very intent on that. So here's Swarup Damodar's in the room, Sariputa's in the room, Satsarup Maharaj, Balavanta's in the room, and Swarup Damodar is having to play devil's advocate. He's presenting the scientist's argument, and Prabhupada is just smashing away at it. And then Tamal Krishna pipes up and says, "It all happened by chance." And Prabhupada says, "I kick on your face with a boot." He says it 2 or 3 times. You say that, I'll kick on your face with a boot. That's no answer. That's just avoiding the answer. So Prabhupada displayed an incredible... I'm sorry. I wave my hands like my friend Bhakta John. I can't talk without waving my hands. Incredible range of emotion and philosophy and preaching. He was training his preachers, because the room conversations, all that day and the next day. So he arrived on a Friday mid-morning. He was here all day Saturday. Sunday was Srila Bhaktisiddhanta's disappearance day, and he came to the temple at midday, gave a long lecture concerning Bhaktisiddhanta and his relationship as a disciple of Bhaktisiddhanta. Later that afternoon, he's again talking to Rupanuga and Satsarup, and a whole line of people come to visit him. Some of the monks from the Conyers Monastery, and a professor from Emory, and some psychiatrists from Athens, and all these people were coming in. They were listening to Prabhupada and being amazed. Dr. Wolf, remember Dr. Wolf? Yeah. I didn't remember, but I remember Dr. Wolf.
He was sitting right in the corner.
Exactly. Dr. Wolf,
He was
yeah.
a psychiatrist? Or?
No, he was maybe a theosophist or some kind of a thing. He was very supportive of the temple, but outside. Also, think about it. ISKCON in 1975, the temple was where the devotees are. The devotees are not living all around Atlanta in their own homes and apartments. The devotees are living here. If you lived outside the temple, you might be in Maya. You were suspected that you may be in Maya. There was very little leeway as far as like. I've thought of it later on that actually the temples at that time were like kind of like a gurukula. We were living in Prabhupada's gurukula. Prabhupada was a guru, and we're actually all living together in an ashram as gurukulis. So actually, we are gurukulis at that time. Later on, the movement, the organization, the institution, ISKCON, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, unfolded, blossomed, evolved, moved to the next stage, congregational. Not everybody can live in 2 or 3 buildings. Everybody's going to live at home and practice Krishna consciousness at home, raise families, teach their children how to be devotees, and have altars in their home, and offer their food to Krishna at home, and worship at home. And the temple will become a center for preaching, a center for worship, a center for congregation, a center for festivals. At that time, this is where the action was, and people would come here. So I don't know where I was going with that. I think I need to wind it up.
So,
I gotta wind it up. Oh, Lord have mercy.
at least you spoke more than you usually do. Usually 5 minutes in yourself. So.
Stand up and started shaking my fist. Oh, the spectrum of what Prabhupada did. Prabhupada's training his preachers. He was training his preachers from the moment he arrived and showing this compassion and sensitivity and tenderness. And he was training his preachers when he's roaring like a lion and telling them to kick on their face with a boot if they say that things happen by chance, that life comes from a combination of chemicals. Prabhupada, I was just listening to that lecture that morning, that room conversation, and Prabhupada said, life is everywhere. It's all around us going on. It's already going on, but you're saying that you are going to create life in a test tube. What is your purpose? And what is your research? You should be researching who has produced life that's everywhere already. Yeah. Prabhupada, and then things like, Tamal Krishna would say, by chance, and I'll kick on your face with a boot. And it's like he's teaching Swarup Damodar, who went on to a very distinguished career and completed that book, the book about, there's versions of it, the small little paperback that we hand out, Life Comes from Life. You got to think about it. Life is there. The material forms come and go. Life passes through the form and goes on. This is the teaching of Bhagavad Gita. This is what's not understood. This is number one. This is the number one teaching that we have to understand. Life is already there. It's not created. It doesn't become. It doesn't happen as a combination of chemicals or some kind of reaction or something. It's there. The soul enters into a body. It leaves the body. This is the fundamental teaching of Bhagavad Gita. This has to be promoted and promulgated in this society at large. The fact that sarvo padivanir muktam tatparatvaina nirmalam, that all these divisions between people on religion, on race, on nationality, these are all based on the body. Krishna consciousness can transform the world. That's why I became a devotee. I hope that's why everyone here can continue to participate. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Grace from Prabhupada ki. So, of course, I wasn't here for that historic moment, but when Prabhupada would come to America, everyone is meditated on where is he, you're trying to get some information. It's not like nowadays, instantly, like I'm doing this broadcast, that's why I have this here. Till we get some volunteers to take this service from me. So we're doing it on YouTube and some other places. But there was no instant information. I don't know how you get information though, huh?
Snail mail.
Well, phone calls. Phone calls were expensive too, though. You don't know, it's like $1 a minute to call Atlanta to Chicago. So, like, if we wanted to know when is Ekadasi, we have some tricks to get around that. We would make those. You could make a collect call, which means the person would accept a call and they would pay for it. So you call the operator and give them the number and say, I want to speak to Mr. Such and Such. And Mr. Such and says, okay, I accept the call. So in those days, everybody followed the same day for the vratas. So normally you call Los Angeles, and I have a collect call from Mr. Akadasi. And they said, well, Mr. Akadasi is not here. Well, when will he be here? He'll be here on February 23rd. That's how we knew when there's Akadasi.
It worked.
Okay, I'll call back. No, there's no charge. I want to know when there's John Masumi. Oh, Mr. John Masumi won't be here till August 25th. So that was our social media. And forget about India. There wasn't even a telephone, hardly. As a matter of fact, Prabhupada had a telephone. They put one in Vrindavan, which was, I think, the only phone. And the next morning, he told him, take it out.
Get that phone out.
Why? He says, he answered the phone, and they go, hi, Swamiji, what are you doing? He says, oh, waste of time, take it out. Because he grew up writing letters from the 1800s. So, anyways, nice memories and discussions from the Prabhus. One thing to add to this, the big Emory connection here, as you know, Prabhu is from Emory University, Balavanta. And Balavanta was studying philosophy, and he had a professor that actually he said he taught about Lord Chaitanya, and he wasn't Mayavadi. So before he met the devotees, he knew all about Lord Chaitanya. And then he met the devotees. And then, of course, he kind of got all these things going indirectly, and this building used to be a frat house for Emory University also. So that's why it was already like this. You just have to move in, more or less. But I want to emphasize another point here too, the significance of Prabhupada, of course, as we're aware. But as we know, Prabhu mentioned how Prabhupada said that Krishna, he came 5,000 years ago, brought his pastimes. Why? To attract us. Right? In the Vedas, you don't hear mention of Radha Krishna. This is very personal. Just like we have a president of the country, he's Mr. President. You don't know about his inner life. That's personal. That's for special people. So there is God. But then you ask most Christians, what does God do all day? Well, he's God. You know, you need something, you pray to him. All right? So that's one relationship. Like the government, you know, just keep the roads clean and all these things and make the taxes lower. Good government. Who cares what happens in their lives? But then they have a wife and they have children. They're also citizens. But they get more, don't they? You see? So that's what it means to worship Krishna. You get more intimate. So, but nobody would surrender. So Mahaprabhu, he came as a devotee to show us. And as a devotee, he's very merciful, so he made it very easy. And then Mahaprabhu, what did he do? He traveled to spread the holy name. And my mind's not working, so I had to write the verse down. But the one verse, Priti Viti Achi, we can sing Naganadigram. Savatra Prachara Habi Mori Nam. That Priti Viti, all over this earth, that all these Naganadigrams, what will happen? He says he wants you to go and propagate, to prachara, to preach. And then what will happen from that? He said, my holy name will be known in every village on the earth. That's what this Pritiviti means, the earth. So imagine Lord Chaitanya 500 years ago, if he wanted to go to Puri, how did he go? Did he take the train? No bus, no plane. He had to walk. By train, it takes you almost a day and a half, right? And then you have to pay taxes. And yet he's saying, all over the earth in every village, my name is going to be heard. That's kind of, what? How is that going to happen? China is there. So many other countries are there. So actually, if you think about this verse, it actually indicates who? Srila Prabhupada, right? He did it. He did this, what was predicted in every village. That name was going to be, and he did it. And he did it in such a way that it's continuing. You see that one devotee back there, Jaya Radhe? Stand up. Stand up. So you can see. She's from China. How's that possible? There's no temple in China. They don't let you go in the street, do Harinam. You can't sell books. So many restrictions. Some can't, but so this is because of what Prabhupada put in place. Of course, this was the accumulation of Bhaktisiddhanta, who made the first formal organization, because previously, if you want to know about Krishna, you have to find a Vaishnava, right? Because Vaishnava live a very simple life under the tree somewhere. So you have to find them. So how are you going to spread it every town and village sitting under the tree? No. So you need organization. So first organization tried. It didn't really hold very well. Finally, Prabhupada, second attempt, ISKCON, holding together somehow or another and still expanding. Mm-hmm. So this being Prabhupada, and for those of us who are very fortunate to be in his presence, to me, that's what I remember the most. I'm sure you all do. In the presence of a person who is a pure devotee of Krishna like that, there's no doubt. You have to be a demon to not accept Krishna as God. You know, you could feel his ecstasies and see him. There's no doubt. You see? So, but that potency has been transferred to us. So who would like to become like that? You want to be freed from the modes of material nature?
Yes.
Who say Haribol? Haribol! You want to experience Krishna praying? Say Haribol. Of course, we can't. If we give you Krishna praying, you probably won't preach anymore, because you'll be in so much ecstasy you don't care. I think that's why Krishna doesn't give it to us. Everybody will stop working. Oh, I'm so much separation from Krishna, I can't do anything. Right? That's one reason you don't get it. Prabhupada knew how to handle it. It didn't bewilder him. Even at death, he's still translating. That didn't even stop him. No, come on, let's finish. Let's finish the Bhagavatam. You see? At death, we're all like, oh, please chant Hare Krishna for me. Save me, save me, save me. So it's the seva. You take up this seva, this preaching. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to physically do it, but you should in your heart want to do it. And if you can't, okay, let me support it financially. Like Balabhaja mentioned, this temple is here. We need this temple. We need the worship of these deities. Everybody, the whole city is benefiting from this. You may not understand that. Is that powerful? Is that auspicious? Even in the neighborhoods where you live, everybody benefits from you being a devotee and chanting your japa. Is that auspicious? So personally, let us continue that, and let us also try to expand, because as you can see, we're all old, and you mentioned how many devotees on that list, and only 3 of us here. So anyway, we're getting ready to go back to Godhead, I hope. But body's going to leave my body soon, that's for sure. Probably lose my mind before that. But anyway, we're near the end. So now you have to take this up. Don't just take it as a means to be happy and enjoy. Let's go have a festival. Oh, it's so nice, it's so nice. Yeah. No, you do like Prabhupada. You make that sacrifice. Then Krishna really comes. He says that in the Gita, which is to me is very strange, because in the Gita, what is he trying to do? He's trying to motivate Arjuna, right? Go kill these people, right? So, but he gives us some lessons there. And then in the Gita, he finally says what? He said, actually, anyone who explains this science to the devotees, he is very dear to me. Why is he telling this to Arjuna? He's on the battlefield. And not only is he very dear to me, but surely he will come to me. So that benediction is there to show what our seva is. And his Jaga and his Aja Kali is this Sankirtan. So let us embrace that. So we're a little bit over. What we'll do now is we're going to bring Prabhupada from the altar and put him here. And that And I didn't bring the muggle and arch from. Okay, we'll just do his pranam prayers because we're running late. We're gonna the flowers. We're gonna have an art. We're gonna offer Pushpanjali very quickly. We're gonna offer a little artik. Well, you want to sing that now or
Can I sing it first? Either way, you tell me.
during the artik? What should we sing? How about the Guru Dev?
Where's Guru? You ready? Guru Dev?
You got to do it quickly, not don't make it so long. Okay. All right. Probably not. If you have on your phone, look up Guru Dev Kripa Bindu Diya, and we'll sing that. So let us all stand up, and we need someone to. Well, I'll start a little kirtan. A chamra, ready for people to when you bring in Prabhupada. Flowers. Jai Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Maybe I'll get it later. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada.
So Guru do the Guru Dev doing the arti, right?
Yeah.
And I'll sing Prabhupada.
Okay. Just stand over here. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. You can do the artik. You do the artik. Srila Prabhupada ki. So you can repeat after me. We'll do Mangala Archanam, and then we're gonna a short one. We're gonna offer the flowers you have to Prabhupada. Om Jnana Timiranjasa Jnananjanan Shalakaya Chakshul Miktam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nivishesha Sunyavadi Pasyatya Deshitarine. We're going to do it 2 more times, so just offer 1/3 of your flowers. Esha Pushpanjali. Srila Prabhupada ki. Nama Om Vishnupadaya. Krishna Prestaya Bhutale. Srimati Bhakti Vedanta. Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve. Gauravani Pacharine. Nivishesha Sunyavadi. Pasyatya Deshitarine. Esha Pushpanjali. Srila Prabhupada ki. This is the last one. Nama Om Vishnupadaya. Krishna Prestaya Bhutale. Srimati Bhakti Vedanta. Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve. Gauravani Pacharine. Nivishesha Sunyavadi. Pasyatya Deshitarine. Esha Pushpanjali. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Gurudev Kripa Bindu Diya Koroe Dase Trinapeka Tihina Koroe Dase Trinapeka Tihina Gurudev Kripa Bindu Diya Koroe Dase Trinapeka Tihina Shakala sahane baladiya karo Shakala sahane baladiya karo Nijamane smihahina Nijamane smihahina Shakale samana kurite shakati Dehonata jata jata Shakale samana shakati Jata jata तभी तो गई वो हरि नाम सुखे तभी तो अपराध हो बेहाता कभी नो कृपा लभी आए जाना कृतता होई बेनाता Natan Shakti Buddhina Miyati Dina Shakti Buddhina Kuramore Atma Shata Kuramore Atma Shata Jogyata Vichare कुछ नाही पाए तुम्हारा करुणा सारा जगत विचारे कुछ नाही पाए सारा करुणा ना होले कांडिया कांडिया प्राण नारा की बोआला Trinapikatihina Dase Trinapikatihina Hare Krishna Hare Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Quick Prema Dwani if you can.
Oh. Jayam Vishwapat Paramahamsa Paribraja Kacharya Astutara Sutta Shri Shrimad Divine Grace. A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. Srila Prabhupada ki. Srila Prabhupada ki. Go Premanandi. Everyone please sit down. We have one more bhajan to sing. Please take a seat. No, cartels.
Let me have this for a minute.
Actually, Madanga, give me Madanga.
Hare Krishna. So devotees who have sponsored the Sunday feast, you have the privilege to do the mini arati. Please come forward. Your name will be mentioned, and if your name is mentioned, please come forward. Come in the front. So we have Surajit Bandapadayan and family. If you are here with your family, please come in the front. With your good wife, Apula Bandapadhyay, Shruti and Shayan. Please come forward. And then we have Pravina Ven, Sarvajaya family. Pravina Ben, Survivor family, please come forward. And then we have Nidhi Gauran family. Nidhi Gauran family, if you are here, please come in the front. You have the pilgrims to do mini arati. Hare Krishna.
This is a song that Srila Prabhupada when he was in Atlanta. It's very, very famous. Hare Krishna. The mercy of the two brothers, Pahu Dwijana. Parama Karuna Pahu Dwijana Nitai Gaura Chandra. Parama Karuna Pahundvi Jana Nitai Gaura Chanda. Sabhavata Sarasirumani Kevala Nanda Kanda Sabhavata Bajo Bajo Bai Chaitanya Nitai Sudrita Biswasa Kori. Baja Baja Bai Chaitanya Nitai Sudrita Biswasa Kori. Vishayacharya Sera se manjiya Muke bolo Hari Hari. Muke bolo Hari. Jai kore bai Tribhuvane nai E mona dhoyala dhata. Dekore bai tribhuvane nai E mona dhoyala dhata. Pashu Pakhi Jure Pashana Vidare Shuni Jara Guna Gata. Shuni Jara Guna Gata. Shamsare Majia Rohili Puria Se pade nahilo asya. Samsare majia rohili poria Se pade nahilo asya. Apna karma bhunjaye shamana koho ye lochana dasa. Apna karma Gunjaye Shamuna Koho ye lochana dasa. Apna karma Munjaye Samana Koye Lochana Dhasa Parama Koruna Pahuri Jana Nitai Gouda Chandra Sabha Avatar Sarosirumani Kevala Anando Kanda Whoa, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, oh Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh. Hey. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada. Hey, Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada. Jai Yo! Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Haribol, Hari, Anitai Gaura Haribol, 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 Haribol. Anitai Gaura Haribol. Haribol, Haribol, Haribol. Go Premanandi. Let's see if we can read the translation. The two lords, Nitai Gaur Chandra, are merciful. They are the essence of incarnations. The specific significance of these incarnations is that they introduced a process of chanting and dancing that is simply joyful. My dear brother, I request that you just worship Lord Chaitanya Nityananda with firm conviction and faith. If one wants to be Krishna conscious by this process, one has to give up his engagement in sense gratification. One simply has to chant Hare Krishna, Hare Bo, Hare Hare, without any motive, my dear brother. Just try and examine this. Within the three worlds, there is no one like Lord Chaitanya or Lord Nityananda. Their merciful qualities are so great that upon hearing them, even birds and beasts cry and stones melt. But Lochandas regrets that I am entrapped by sense gratification. Since I have no attraction for the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, then Yamaraj, the superintendent of death, is punishing me by not allowing me to be attracted by this movement. Hari Hari Bo.
Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki. So let's give a big round of applause for 3 stalwart Prabhupada devotees. It's Balabhadra Prabhu, Sikhi Maiti Prabhu and Parampara Prabhu. We are very grateful and thankful to them for being here. Now, many of the, like Prabhupada Prabhu has mentioned before, that many of Prabhupada disciples, they're going back to Prabhupada's seva in the spiritual world. So, now we still have some of the Prabhupada disciples. Please take the advantage of their association and hear about Srila Prabhupada from them, how Prabhupada established this worldwide movement. And it still is going on, and it's going to go on for 10,000 years. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki. So we have our Sunday sponsor. I like to call first Surajit Bandapadhyay and family. Please come forward. Bring your all family. Surajit Bandapadhyay, Apala Bandapadhyay, Shruti and Shen. They are 2 daughters of